What I wasn't expecting is that some of the prehistoric creatures would still be there.
I also heard that you guys really built the Heave transport.
Tell the story of where that character was developed, like the G.I. Joe.
The G.I. Joe? Well, there's a character called Chuckles from G.I. Joe.
You know, not only does he get this new arm, he has a dental implant as well.
Okay. Hi Adam, my name is Nandra. I represent Cinema 21, the largest cinema chain in Indonesia. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Okay, so before we start, I would like to introduce you to a friend of mine. I have this toy since I was 5, so I'm 30 now. So suffice to say, I really love the movie.
That's really nice. You know, honestly, like I had some Godzilla toys when I was a kid, but they're all knockoff ones, so yours looks nicer than mine did.
I think this is also a bootleg knockoff one too.
Well, maybe your bootlegs are just more convincing, so congratulations. Mine were kind of green.
Okay, so before I start, I would like to do something. I'd like to do the Iwi telepath to say that I really love the movie.
I'll do it with you. Yes.
You get it?
I got it. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I know, right?
Okay, so as a newcomer to the MonsterVerse franchise, what drew you to playing the Iwi Queen? And do you remember when and what are you doing when you received the call?
I was really excited because, like everybody, we grew up watching Godzilla and Kong. It's such iconic characters that I just didn't know what they need me for. Am I playing a monster? I'm doing voiceover for Godzilla. I sometimes do it at home with my husband. Yeah, so they proposed to me. It's a brand new character, which I really got excited about because oftentimes in these kind of universe that's already created, it's really rare to have another brand new character and a world. So I was really excited when they presented to me in the second meeting with like drawings of the Iwi Palace and the world that they live in, and to bring back these characters from Skull Island, but to go in depth of who they are, how they're connected to Gia's character, but also to all these monsters living in that world. So I was really, really excited about the chance to create a brand new character.
Is that a mini Kong?
Oh my God. That's not just a signal.
So given the success and fan excitement surrounding the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, what inspired you to continue the story with this one?
Well, I felt like that there was just untapped kind of ground stylistically, especially where it comes to the monster films. Like the movie I'd always wanted to see since I was a little kid was I wanted a movie that was driven from the monster's perspective. And I think for a variety of reasons that was kind of impossible until recently. But, you know, here we are where we've caught up with VFX that, you know, this is a possibility. And having made another MonsterVerse film, Godzilla vs. Kong, that really gave me the confidence to be able to know that like it's possible and, you know, these movies can hold up without constantly having, you know, a human narrate what's going on. And so that was like the starting point for me. You know, with that said, you know, this is a continuation of Godzilla vs. Kong. So I really became attached to the human characters in that story as well, especially Gia, Andrews, and Bernie. And I wanted to know where they were going to go next, and so that was a really fun thing to continue to explore as a director as well.
Okay, so your character Gia has become a very fan favorite after the last movie. How has she evolved in this new movie, and is there any new challenges or experience that she faced?
In the second movie, you'll see a lot of bravery from her. There's a lot of things that are going on, but I think the fans will like her a lot more in the second movie.
The movie takes audience to various exotic locations, right? And I heard that you guys met crocodiles, like a giant snakes too. Can you share any memorable experiences?
I love that you said that we met them as if though it was like, you know, something we signed on for. It was very much forced upon us. Am I a nature guy? Absolutely not. But we filmed in a wonderful rainforest called Daintree, which is incredibly historical. It's prehistoric also. What I wasn't expecting is that some of the prehistoric creatures would still be there. So there's like, an animal, if that's what you can call it, called a cassowary, which is a mixture. Well, one is a descendant of the Velociraptor. Oh, you know it. You know the. Okay, great.
Yeah,
no one told me.
Kedua is native in Indonesia too.
Oh,
like a big.
The big ostrich,
bird.
Velociraptor, peacock thing.
Very scary.
If you go on YouTube and look up cassowary, the first thing that comes up is cassowary chasing people on the beach, or cassowary chasing a van, or cassowary chasing. So that is like what we had to deal with. There were also, but look, it was beautiful as well. The beaches, the shores are gorgeous. You had to be careful of the leaves that landed on you sometimes. I repeat, the leaves that landed on you, you had to be careful of. But what was great is that I was with them, so I could literally watch them go first, and if they made it, then I'm like, oh, okay, we're cool to go, especially Dan. Because Dan is mostly Dan. He's not afraid of anything. Like, he's not, he loved it. Like, you would sometimes see him like resting against a tree, not knowing if that tree was alive or poisonous, like
just picking berries, eating mushrooms.
Yeah, a kookaburra would land.
Very in character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very in character. Whereas the panic and fear that my character shows was very in character for me in
and
between.
the sort of like middle of the road, like straightforward. What was my response to it?
There we go. That's it. That's, that's what it was.
Just watching both of us react.
Can you share any memorable or funny moments when you're filming that stand out to you?
I like the part when we were filming and Gia was walking and she finds, you know, the old tribe leader from the Iwi, and she finds that statue, and I thought that was so cool, that moment.
Yeah, a lot. I was really scared for my first entrance scene because we actually built that pyramid quite high, like 2 feet high. We didn't finish building the entire thing, obviously, but they built as high as they could in the studio. So coming down from the staircase was quite scary because we didn't have any railing or anything, and I was in a long gown all the way to the floor. Just like, let's try not to fall down because they actually built a lot of the set in reality. So it's not just blue screens. And I really liked our flying object.
The heave, right?
Yeah, so we really enjoy riding in it because they actually built 2 of them. One has hydraulics in them, so it actually moves on command.
Oh, that's fun.
It's really fun, and it's everything was built inside.
Yes, I also heard that you guys really built the heave transport, like with hydraulic.
Yeah, it was built. We had a spaceship that was ready and everything inside of it, and with seats and lights and bells and whistles, with even seat belts. It was built just for that scene, and it was like a real spaceship. And there was a big screen that was a green screen that was around us. And when we were filming, they had to adjust certain moments to make sure that it looked exactly right and true when we were filming. So that was very cool.
You feel like going for a ride?
Thought you'd never ask. Just try not to swallow your tongue.
What?
Oh my God! How do you also approach the evolutions of Godzilla and Kong's character while also maintaining the continuity, but also updating their designs and look?
I was excited about putting my own stamp on Godzilla. I mean, as a Godzilla fan, and I know that it's really exciting whenever his look is updated and changed through the years. When it came to doing my own approach to it, I knew that I wanted it to be story-driven, and we ended up kind of developing a lot of the story around this concept of Godzilla evolving. And with Godzilla, you can evolve him organically, but with Kong, it's not quite as straightforward. I knew we wanted to kind of update Kong in some kind of special way for the film, but you couldn't do it the same way you could Godzilla. But that's where Kong's association and kind of friendship human element is. You know, Kong is a very human character himself, and you know, he has this bond with humanity, and they're kind of intertwined in that way. And so his evolution is a technical one that coincides with his kind of, I mean, like in a way, like he's evolving alongside humans. So our technology is pushing him forward. You know, not only does he get this new arm, he has a dental implant as well.
Okay, so Rebecca, how was your collaborative experience with Adam Wingard for like 2 movies?
Fantastic. I love working with Adam. He has such a clear vision. He has such a clear sense of fun. His inner 10-year-old is strong. And I think that is an absolute prerequisite of being a good director of anything, honestly, if I'm being honest. I think that he brings a love and a fandom to this particular genre that is unique, and I love that he trusts me. You know, he did on the first one, but I think it was even easier on the second one. He trusts me to do the work and do Dr. Andrews, and also to have fun with her and get to play with these characters. In a way, I got to improvise and respond and play and do all that kind of thing, which is really to do with his trust of me. So I think that I would continue to work with him forever. He's great. I love him.
Okay, so you joined like already established crew members, like cast members and directors. Can you share any insights of the relationship that when you joined for the first time?
Yeah, when I first met them, I came a little bit later because they started filming already. And that day they were in the jungle. And when I was in the trailer getting ready to go on set to meet them, and they told me, we just caught a python in Australia, like a real one. They had a snake wrangler come and try to get that snake. It was like this gigantic snake that they just encountered on set. I was like, wow, this is real, like
a real monster.
Crazy, like the monsterverse. And then I met everyone, super nice, and we're actually all the same age, and we came from, like, a lot of us came from the theater background. We have a lot of friends in common, so naturally, like, we bonded right away. So, and throughout this whole filming process, we're just a bunch of goofballs. And for these kind of movies, you have a lot of downtime. We have to wait a lot for special effects to come in, set up lights. So we had a lot of time to just spend in a tent talking to each other. And Rebecca does a lot of drawings. So she did a lot of portraits of me. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun.
In this movie, one of Gia's journey involved discovering more about her heritage and the Iwi civilizations, right? How do you approach portraying this aspect of her character, since we don't really explore in the last movie?
Based on my choice of emotions, I think that adds to the certain sadness or happiness or despair that she feels when she meets her tribe. And in real life, she's able to develop these connections with her tribe when she does see them.
Do you have any memorable direction from Adam, like, oh, you're not staring focused enough, maybe, or something like that?
It's quite the opposite. Adam is such a hands-free director. He really let me do whatever I wanted. He just lets me create the character, even from my look, my hair, makeup, and all of that. It was very much a collaborative process. We discussed a lot. We made a lot of changes once I got to Australia. And also, he wanted me to participate. And I did a lot of research on telepathy and also did a lot of practice. We were playing this card game called The Mind, which is kind of just throw out the cards in the chronological order amongst different players. So you kind of have to read each other's mind and put down the card quickly. So we played that on set with the cast. I practiced telepathy with Rebecca a lot. I would just Rebecca, what am I thinking? I'm practicing just in my mind. So in, backstage, in the tent, we did a lot of these just goofy games. In seriousness, I also learned a lot of sign languages with GS because she really relies on her hand gestures, but I think she naturally, Haley, has this innate sense of kind of telepathy in her own way, that she can read a lot of our body language, our lips. So I kind of watched her stillness and her ability to observe, that I learned a lot from that as well. It's a really fun process, and I really enjoyed not having to learn any lines.
You're now a professional mind reader.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think it was fun when you have to command hundreds of people in the room just with a thought. Of course, we have our first AD to kind of announce, now, she's saying this, but to have that presence and to have that command was also really fun to play.
Then, so you're joining the Monsterverse for the first time. So
Yes.
what was your experience joining the veteran crew members?
To be invited to join the fun, join the adventure, is a great honor. But to get to do it with such a fun character as Trapper, who's just very fun, charming, silly, kind of unfazed by titans and danger, and just kind of along for the ride. It was pretty great fun. I had a really nice time.
In a very fashionable fashion sense.
Didn't he look great?
Thank you very much.
Did he look
Good
great?
time.
Yeah.
Tell the story of where that character was developed, like the G.I. Joe.
The G.I. Joe? Well, there's a character called Chuckles from G.I. Joe, which I wasn't aware of, but Adam Wingard is steeped in all this lore, and he showed me a picture, and it does kind of look like him.
Exactly
Yeah,
like
there's a little
Chuckles.
bit of Ace Ventura in there.
Yeah.
There's, know, but this Chuckles character, I don't know much about Chuckles. Do we know if he's a good guy or a bad guy?
Doesn't matter.
He looks cool.
His name is
It
Chuckles.
looks good. How was your experience working with such a diverse cast like Dan Stevens, the new addition with the cast members, and I was working again with Rebecca and Brian Tyree Henry?
I like being back with them. I had such a great relationship with them. It felt so great. It was such a joy working with them, and I enjoy working with the whole crew as well.
That's a call for war.
Okay, so my favorite scene of the movie is when Godzilla and Kong meet for the first time in Egypt. Like when Godzilla doing that move. So what's your favorite scene?
I mean, that's definitely one of them. I mean, because that scene in Egypt was really inspired by my favorite film, They Live. You know, in that film, what's cool about it is it's the best scene in that movie is it's not the hero versus the villain. It's two heroes having a misunderstanding and they fight in this great sequence. You know, I think in this movie, probably the sequence though I'm most proud of, and it's honestly the one I'm most proud of in my entire career, is the, you know, long 8-minute stretch sequence where Kong meets the Scar King for the first time. That's such a behemoth of a sequence. And it's so multifaceted. You know, we meet Scar King, we meet Shimo, and I'm just so proud of the way it turned out. And it's so complicated because you have this whole tribe of apes down there, and the complexity of that. I mean, and there's so much detail in those shots. I mean, if you look closely, for instance, like some of the POV shots where Kong first overlooks the entire civilization of apes, you can, if you look up in the left corner, you can actually see little tiny baby apes all playing, and you know, they're all fully realized, but there's just all these little pockets of reality happening all over, and but of course that creates a lot of complexity, but yeah, makes it where I'm very proud of it.
Okay, so the movie is very action-packed and visually stunning, right? My favorite scene is the heave transport scene. Do you have any favorite scene?
I enjoyed filming that transport scene as well to Hollow Earth. I think that there was so many good scenes in the movie. It's hard to pick one.
My last question is, the movie is going to release in IMAX, like a very big screen. It's going to improve the overall movie experience. Do you have any special reasons why we should watch it in IMAX?
You'll get such a great experience. You know, bigger screen and bigger action. It's better than watching on your home TV. It's a little bit smaller, of course, but the bigger screen is just gonna be a better experience.
Well, stay tuned and please watch Godzilla Kong: The New Empire because it's full of action and full of surprises.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Asik kan videonya? Jangan lupa like, subscribe, dan komen ya. Sampai jumpa di video selanjutnya.